Welcome to Trump Rewind. Trump's 2024 campaign, 7 key factors for success. Donald Trump's electoral approach is defined by critical components, including strong base mobilization and effective messaging that resonates with voters' concerns. Focusing on swing states is essential for securing electoral votes. His confrontational stance amid legal challenges energizes his base, while social media shapes narratives. Voter engagement initiatives boost turnout, and fostering party unity consolidates support within the Republican Party, illustrating his complex electoral strategy. This channel covers news and public events related to Donald Trump for informational purposes only. We do not endorse or oppose any political party or figure. Number 1. Strong base mobilization. Strong base mobilization was a cornerstone of Donald Trump's 2020 campaign, which heavily relied on the unwavering loyalty of his supporters. Known for their deep connection to Trump's populist rhetoric and his America First policies, this base was energized through a combination of mass rallies, social media outreach, and grassroots efforts. Trump's rallies, often drawing thousands of attendees, were pivotal in maintaining excitement and commitment among his base. These events were not just campaign stops, they became social gatherings that fueled a sense of community and shared purpose among his supporters. Additionally, his direct communication via Twitter and other platforms kept his core followers constantly engaged, reinforcing his message and attacking his political opponents. The campaign also invested heavily in digital advertising, using data analytics to micro-target potential voters. While this strategy succeeded in keeping his most loyal supporters mobilized, it also highlighted Trump's challenge in expanding his appeal to undecided or moderate voters, as his approach often alienated those outside his base. Ultimately, Trump's strong base mobilization helped him secure a significant portion of the vote, but it wasn't enough to overcome the broader political and demographic shifts happening across the country. Number 2. Effective messaging. Donald Trump's 2020 campaign messaging was crafted to appeal directly to his base while projecting strength and leadership to the broader electorate. His key messages centered on economic recovery, law and order, and an America First approach to foreign policy. The slogan, "Keep America Great," was introduced as an extension of his 2016 Make America Great Again message, positioning Trump as the leader who had restored America's power and needed another term to solidify those gains. His messaging on law and order became especially prominent during the widespread protests against racial injustice, as he framed himself as the candidate who could restore stability in the face of chaos. However, this message was polarizing. While it resonated with his core supporters, it alienated some voters concerned about his dismissive response to systemic racial issues. On economic issues, Trump emphasized his tax cuts, deregulation efforts, and the pre-pandemic economic growth, portraying himself as the only candidate capable of rebuilding the economy after COVID-19. Despite the pandemic, Trump downplayed the virus's severity in his messaging, focusing instead on the need to reopen businesses and schools. This approach solidified his base, but also became a point of contention for voters prioritizing public health. Number 3. Swing state focus. Donald Trump's re-election campaign placed intense focus on swing states, which were critical to winning the Electoral College. States like Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona were at the heart of Trump's strategy, as these battlegrounds had proven decisive in 2016. Trump held numerous rallies in these states, frequently visiting them in the final stretch of the campaign. His messaging in swing states emphasized job creation, economic recovery, and restoring law and order, particularly as these states were hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic and social unrest. Trump's ground game in these areas was also significant, with his campaign investing heavily in local advertising, canvassing efforts, and digital outreach to target voters directly. While his personal appearances and direct messaging efforts helped solidify support among his base in these regions, the dynamics in 2020 were different from 2016. Shifts in suburban voters, combined with a surge in mail-in voting due to the pandemic, changed the electoral landscape, and Trump's appeal in these critical states wasn't enough to secure victory. Despite his efforts, Trump lost several key swing states, which ultimately determined the outcome of the election. Number 4. Handling legal challenges. Donald Trump's handling of legal challenges following the 2020 election became a defining aspect of his post-election strategy. Even before Election Day, Trump expressed concerns about potential fraud related to mail-in voting, which had expanded due to the COVID-19 pandemic. After the results indicated that Joe Biden had won the presidency, Trump and his legal team quickly filed lawsuits in several swing states, alleging widespread voter fraud and irregularities in the voting process. These legal challenges focused on issues such as mail-in ballots, ballot counting procedures, and alleged violations of state election laws. However, the majority of these lawsuits were dismissed due to a lack of evidence, and no court, including the Supreme Court, found merit in the claims that could have altered the election's outcome. While these efforts failed to overturn the results, they fueled widespread distrust in the election process among Trump supporters, many of whom continue to believe the election was stolen. The legal challenges also extended the political uncertainty in the weeks following the election, contributing to a highly polarized environment. Ultimately, Trump's handling of these legal challenges solidified his influence over a segment of the Republican Party, while also raising serious concerns about the long-term effects on public trust in democratic institutions. Number 5. Media strategy. Donald Trump's media strategy in the 2020 election was both aggressive and innovative, leveraging multiple platforms to keep his message front and center. Trump's use of social media, particularly Twitter, allowed him to communicate directly with millions of followers, bypassing traditional media outlets, which he often accused of bias. His tweets were not just updates, they were key tools in shaping the political narrative, responding to critics, and energizing his supporters. Beyond social media, Trump maintained a strong presence on conservative news networks, especially Fox News, where he frequently appeared for interviews and commentary. His campaign also invested heavily in digital advertising, using advanced data analytics to target voters with personalized messages. However, Trump's contentious relationship with mainstream media outlets led to constant clashes, as he accused them of spreading fake news and unfairly covering his administration. His handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and his claims of widespread voter fraud after the election were major points of contention with the media, further polarizing public opinion. Despite these challenges, Trump's media strategy was effective in keeping him at the center of the national conversation, even in the face of overwhelming opposition from traditional news outlets. Number 6. Voter engagement. Voter engagement was a critical focus of Donald Trump's 2020 campaign, with efforts tailored to both energize his core base and reach new voters. The campaign's grassroots organizing efforts were extensive, including door-to-door canvassing, phone banking, and digital outreach. Trump's rallies, despite the pandemic, remained a key part of his strategy to engage voters, serving as high-energy events that kept his supporters excited and motivated to vote. In addition to in-person events, the campaign utilized digital platforms extensively, with targeted ads, social media campaigns, and email marketing to connect with potential voters. Trump's messaging focused heavily on in-person voting, as he expressed skepticism about the security of mail-in ballots. His campaign also worked to engage specific voter demographics, including rural voters, blue-collar workers, and religious conservatives, who were seen as crucial to his re-election chances. However, while Trump successfully mobilized his base, the overall voter turnout, driven in part by expanded mail-in voting, was historically high across both parties. The increased engagement among Democratic voters, many of whom were motivated by opposition to Trump, ultimately offset his efforts, contributing to his defeat. Number 7. Party unity. Maintaining party unity was both a strength and a challenge for Donald Trump during the 2020 election. While Trump had secured widespread support within the Republican Party, his leadership style and controversial policies had also caused fractures among certain factions. Trump's influence over the GOP was evident in his ability to command loyalty from most Republican leaders, many of whom rallied behind his campaign despite reservations about his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and his inflammatory rhetoric. His endorsement carried significant weight in Republican primaries, where candidates sought his approval to gain favor with the party's base. However, Trump's refusal to concede the election after Joe Biden was declared the winner created significant tension within the party. While some Republican leaders supported his efforts to challenge the election results, others, including prominent figures like Mitt Romney, publicly criticized his actions. The party's internal divisions became more pronounced in the aftermath of the election, particularly following the events of January 6, 2021, when Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol. Despite these challenges, Trump's dominance within the party remained evident, as his loyal base continued to support him, shaping the future direction of the Republican Party. Thanks for watching Trump Rewind. Stay tuned for more unforgettable moments and insights from Trump's legacy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for your daily rewind.